I do believe that the most important thing is the quality of the service that is being delivered. You can have all the great sales and marketing, all the great social media, awesome branding, but ultimately, particularly in a CrossFit environment, the experience that people have when they walk through the doors is the most important thing by far.
Hi, I'm Jerem.
And I'm Barry.
We're from NovoFit, and this is the Mate Spot Me podcast. In this podcast, we're going to speak to experienced and upcoming fitness industry leaders with the goal to give you 2 to 3 gems that you can take away and insert into your business.
Fitness has never been more competitive. Boutique concepts, global events, and endless choice. But CrossFit continues to cut through. It's not just a training model, it's community, identity, and belonging. Today we're joined by Ed Morrison, Country Manager for Australia and New Zealand at CrossFit. And he unpacks why that still matters and what the broader commercial fitness industry can learn from it. Hopefully you enjoy the podcast. See you there.
The underpinning logic of the affiliate model was that CrossFit was meant to be open source. Let's go figure out the best way to do this thing together and let's effectively learn from each other. And if someone starts doing something which is really effective, well, everyone should start taking that on board, but we're not going to get these sort of great ideas and these different expressions of CrossFit unless we give you the freedom to do it. It is, so dealing day to day with affiliates and talking to affiliate owners, you can sense at times there is a frustration because the weight of the CrossFit brand can be so powerful both ways. You know, CrossFit's a very well recognised brand and people hopefully know that it stands for things like good movement and, you know, forging really long-term health and fitness. But also if someone down the road is doing something poor and they give someone a bad experience, that person now thinks, CrossFit is dangerous or CrossFit is, you know, unsafe or CrossFit's too intense. But that might not be the experience I feel they would have had at my gym. Yeah. So that's the ongoing challenge.
I think the thing for me, and when I first sort of started my journey there, 15 years ago, when we worked together.
Yeah.
I was really sort of blown away at the methodology and the education behind it. The courses are still, of all the stuff I've done, I reckon the level 1, level 2 were probably, level 2 in particular, one of the best courses I've ever done. And even awesome, just like the what was it? Is it the What Is Fitness document that everything was based on?
Yep.
Like the whole methodology, just having more weight behind it, was probably something that people just don't understand.
It's really interesting that you say that because we really believe that is what sets CrossFit apart. The fact that it has a really sound methodology behind it, and you can refer back to these tenets, which we think are really important to operate a good CrossFit program. And we hypothesize, if you will, because it'd be wrong of me to say that we have the data, but we think the gyms that make the methodology more front and center in their service are the more successful ones. So the ones that sort of just basically do workouts, that, you know, they can still have great success because there's lots of people that need to get fit and need to get healthy, but the ones that really proudly stand for, hey, this is CrossFit and like these are some of the things that you'll find are real staples of our program, they're the affiliates that do better, the ones that sort of stand for something.
How are the affiliates going with, I think, the ever-expanding offerings in the fitness market is, you know, there's always something coming in, and I think the emergence of wellness and recovery, which you touched on earlier, longevity, we've got reformer, we've got, you know, digital offerings now that are very, you know, driven around hybrid training and different modalities. How do you see CrossFit evolving in that landscape? And it's becoming more and more competitive. The community-driven fitness landscape is now, you know, an absolute massive part of what's going on in Australia and globally.
Yeah,
which maybe is driven from CrossFit originally.
Maybe
it's probably not as unique to CrossFit as it once was. Everyone else has tried to lean into that a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, so it's not a unique offering anymore. It's kind of CrossFit have come out and done this, and everyone's like, hey, that looks pretty cool.
Yep.
Can we replicate that?
Yep.
So my question is, how does CrossFit remain relevant and compete in such a really busy industry and environment? Yeah,
I feel like we could do a whole podcast series on that question. That is the question for our affiliate owners. To actually reference something that Jez said before. So we have this belief and this definition of fitness. And that definition, without going all CrossFit.
Please.
Is work capacity across broad time and modal domains. And what that basically means is what work can you do across short, medium, long efforts and different modalities. So body weight, external load, running, rowing, like all different tasks. And the question that I put to our affiliate owners often is, when you think about adding something or taking it away, do you feel like it is adding to people's fitness? And if the answer is yes, if I do this thing, it will add to people's fitness, then by all means, go and explore it. Go and see if people enjoy it as part of adding to your service. If you're just doing it because it's the latest trend and you're not actually tracking, is this working? Well, then you could just be getting caught up in the noise.
Yep.
Trying to keep up with it.
And there's so many countless examples of this. Like, we sort of discussed this before, should our affiliate owners start thinking about having recovery centers? Should they think about purchasing saunas and things like that? Well, if you do that, sticking to the methodology, track if it's working. So if other people that use a sauna, are they upping how often they're coming? And when they're coming more, are they getting better results? If they are, you should do the sauna. If you just do the sauna because someone said do the sauna and you have absolutely no data to suggest that that's actually helping us get people fitter, I question if that's of value. And they basically have to do that assessment with absolutely everything. Should I run this class? Should anything really? Yeah. So there's a lot to consider.
Yeah. And I suppose because there is flexibility, the framework is loose. Maybe it's concentrated, but I think because the framework is open, you would have more creativity, and they want to think outside the box. And it's like you'd get a lot of those people going, well, I'll put it through the guardrails. Does it tick all those boxes? Mm-hmm. Yes. Cool. Let's go. But you might have some that are probably just, I'm going to do this to compete with the gym down the road, and it's a never-ending chase.
And I think, at least I speak for myself, we've all done that because it's so tempting to do that. It's like, oh, damn, they've got that. We should probably do that as well. But then you step back and you ask yourself, is that actually part of the offering that I want to have? A lot of CrossFit gyms now do like open gym. So like you can just come in and do your own thing at any time. And my general view on that as an affiliate owner is that's not where we excel. We excel in really high-level coaching and the community that's created in a class-based system. And I love my gyms. They look amazing. But if you want open gym, there's a beautiful 24/7 gym down the road, and you would be mad to come to me for open gym. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So we don't do that. And, we have some conversations with people when they want things like that around, hey, this is our belief in what we think will work for you. And we manage that as best we can. But ultimately, you have to have the courage, I guess, to say no.
Yeah.
Which is really tricky.
That's what it takes too, though. But stick to that. I just hope more people do that, because it's such a powerful thing that our industry can do. Is you can be an expert at CrossFit, but there can also be a 24/7 gym down the road that's also an expert at 24/7 fitness.
That's right.
And the user can have both. And I think if we dilute the offering across all of our modalities within the industry, it just becomes really messy. And it's like, if you're the experts in CrossFit, like, stick to that, nail it, do an amazing service, and members are like, hey, this is great. As soon as we start to dilute it and everybody's trying to do everything, I think the end outcome isn't going to be as bespoke and as high quality, because we're all trying to do everything.
That's exactly right. Like, we just tend to think, do less and do it better.
Yeah, I like that.
I like how you say no. Like, I remember when I was coaching here with Dan and Frank in the city, and we had a session around members wanting all these different things, and one of the guys brought up this whole thing around the dog wagging the tail and not the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah.
And it's like, members make a lot of noise, and in those sorts of environments, you don't have, like, a member is so valuable to you and they're part of your community, but there's not as many of them as, say, 24/7. So there can be a tendency for gym owners or affiliate owners to just jump to whatever these small things are, because they don't want to lose half a dozen members.
Yeah.
But you're right, it dilutes what you're doing.
I think one of the additional complexities is that at a CrossFit affiliate and other functional gyms like this, the members are so engaged, and they really see that gym as like part of their home. And this probably is a bit corporate, but I often think of my members are not customers. They're like shareholders. Like, they often come to me with suggestions as if they had shares in the business. And that comes from a place of, like, love. They just love the gym so much. But ultimately, you probably wouldn't go up to the cafe down the road and give them suggestions on how they should, you guys should be offering banana bread. Just telling people what it should be like. So it's a real test. And we talked about like the business savviness piece. Like our affiliate owners, ultimately, whether they like it or not, they have to take on this leadership role of just making really good decisions from really engaged communities. And that's another thing that over time we've just become, I'd like to think, better educated in. Like, hey, if you're going to run a good gym, you have to be a good leader. So business practice, leadership, all that stuff is hopefully more, more out there for our affiliate owners.
Geez, we jumped in real heavy early.
That's what we do here. But it's the magic, right? You could feel it when you start. It's like it's all the good stuff.
I was going to ask you guys, have we started?
So welcome to the podcast, Ed. It's great to have you online, mate.
Yep.
I think I'm really curious, and look, admittedly, I'm not a CrossFit buff. I've never done a session before, but I've done technical lifts and enjoyed sort of that part of the training in a gym.
Awesome.
And so really loved it. Loved the competitive nature of it. That really got me. What I'm curious about is like the commercial realities about it. Like what does the average CrossFit box have in terms of a membership base? Do they need a couple of hundred? Is it less than that? And what's the average tenure? It's been a massive evolving space from me looking out in over the last 5 years with a lot what's been going on in the US, and we'll tap into that.
Sure.
But interested to know that what's the average tenure of a CrossFit box and how many members do they need? And yeah.
There's a bit of meat on the bone with that question. So I guess to jump back just to the affiliate model for a moment. The affiliate model dictates that people can open all different styles of gyms. So you can have, let's call it like aircraft style facilities, which Jez, you're at 224, the one in Airport West.
Huge.
It's conceivable you could run a 100-person class in something like that.
Whoa.
And then
that's cool.
And then there's gyms like, and again, to use something that you are aware of, the one in the city. It's like it's in a basement. You could, I don't know, I actually never saw it, but it
was probably 250 square metres. So they had one gym out there that would have been 1,000 square metres, and then their other gym in the city was about 250.
Yeah.
And the way that the blocks work, I suppose you can adapt it to the space.
Yeah. And, they're obviously going to feel like different offerings, but that's going to affect, I guess, how many members gyms have, how big classes are. We don't because of the affiliate model piece, we don't necessarily have the hardest data on this, but around sort of the 100 to 150 mark is probably the average CrossFit membership, which I know compared to other gyms out there is going to seem quite low, but it's obviously quite a bespoke offering where the idea is to get to know the individual really well. It's the price point would dictate that those type of numbers can work. And the real, from a business perspective, the real value is the customer's lifetime value. So keeping them for sort of, 4 or 5 years. At my gym, we have like a board, which is called the Legends Board. Marketing department did it.
I like that.
Yeah. And it's like 5-year members and 10-year members.
Oh, nice.
10-year members, like we've now got like 30 of them. 5-year members, I think we've got like 120.
Wow.
So it's like by the way, it's not about like the business perspective there, but it's like CrossFit isn't meant to be a 6-week challenge. It's meant to be a lifestyle you adopt. And for that reason, I guess the mechanics of the business make sense when you get people to commit long term.
That's a really interesting paradigm shift around retention. I think you're saying that it's not a 6-week challenge or a 12-week challenge where there's obviously other modalities that probably work on similar membership numbers that you're talking about from my experience. So I don't think that's too far off.
Okay.
But their churn rate would be pretty high in terms of I come in, I do my 12-week challenge, I look great for summer, I enjoy a few too many beers, I have too many Parmesanas or whatever it is that Jez loves, and then I get back into it again in February. And so I think that lifestyle piece, I can see most CrossFit people, even when you talk about it, Jez, you're so passionate. It's like
you drink the Kool-Aid.
It's not a cult, but it's close.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really magic, I think, in the brand and in what the offering is. And it's certainly a shift from what is out there. I'd say boutique setups would love to do that, but the pure consumer demand is the way that they're using the service is different.
Yeah, and I still think affiliates have got something to learn from that, because I think what those boutique offerings do really well is they create excitement around things like a 6-week challenge. And I think CrossFit affiliates could learn from that, because We really believe in what we're doing and we want to draw more people in. But ultimately, it's most effective. Like, as you said, churn is, it's hard to say what's the most important number, but that is the first thing we would look at in any of our affiliates. Like, how are you going retaining your members? Because those members that stay for 3, 4, 5 years, they're the ones that bring their partner. They're the ones that bring their mates. And you'll get the growth if you've got the retention.
Well, you've got 150 that are 5 years plus. That's a testament to what you're doing in there. And that, I'm sure that's an awesome space. Like, imagine going to training where you'd been training with someone for 5 years.
Well, I literally retired about a month ago from hung up my coaching shirt. And but the gym I was at up in Brizzy, the boys have been probably 12 years. There's probably a dozen or so members that have been there since they opened the doors 12 years ago. And we do like a presentation at the start of each session. And literally, I remember doing one for 10 years and we were having the discussion before the class around there's people that don't stay in jobs for that long.
No.
Like,
it's remarkable.
It's nuts.
When we present people with a 10-year membership, I often say to the group, because we do it after a class, I go, you guys have just done one session. You know how hard one session is.
Yeah.
Imagine doing it for 10 years and everyone sort of has a laugh. But, you know, people get to, you sort of referred to, people get to know each other really well. And honestly, like, their best mates are there. They build relationships there. I met my wife, who I now own the gym at. I met her at the gym that I now own. You know, so it's like, that's just, you got to be careful with that stuff sometimes.
I know all about that.
Yeah, you do.
I met my wife at the gym as well.
Okay, so good. I'm amongst friends.
We're all fine.
Ed used to work for Katie and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
You poor bugger. No, I mean, that's great. That's awesome.
Good times.
What is it? How do you articulate to someone that's coming into the affiliate model that this is what we do from a community standpoint that has those results? Like, what is, and I get the technical side and the training side, and people love that, but there must be something else in there that makes people want to stay that long.
Yeah. Are you, just to clarify, are you talking about to someone prospectively opening an affiliate, or are you talking about a member that was looking to join the gym?
More an affiliate that's kind of going, is this something that I can do for 10 years?
Yep.
And the unique selling proposition is, hey, it's technical, it's specialized, it's high level service, but also people come in and they stay for a long time.
Yep.
Cool. That's a sound business decision for me.
And it's also, I think the other big thing, is it's a model where you're on the tool. Like, you got to be in there and love being on the tools.
Yeah.
So probably two-part question is let's talk more about being an affiliate and that. Like, I think that's really interesting. But what is it that's, you know, people are wanting to stay there for 10 years?
Yeah.
You know, what's driving those specific situations?
I'll be honest, candidly, HQ we've done a poor job of articulating the value prop of opening an affiliate over the journey, and we're only over the last couple of years getting better at that by putting forward, hey, you can create a space which will become really meaningful because it can get lots of people results, but also you can build a pretty robust business because, as you know, people that fall in love with CrossFit are going to do it for a very long time. So we're beginning to articulate that a little bit more on things like our level 1 and level 2 seminars, and when we talk to coaches and trainers. And you know, I never had the goal of opening a gym because I didn't know if it would actually be able to put food on my plate.
I remember we spoke about that way back in the day.
And there was just no resources to go to. So now there's a really good team that sort of work out. We call them our field leaders. They sort of look after the various countries and territories. And we're trying to get in touch with people before they rent out the aircraft hangar for 10 years. And they're like, hey, I've got $100,000 worth of rent to pay for the next 10 years or whatever it might be. We're trying to get in touch with those people a little bit earlier. What was the second part of the being on the tools?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a really tricky one because that's like I personally just love coaching.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the energy of it. I love being there. It gives me so much. Like I find it so rewarding. Ultimately, though, the business can only thrive if it doesn't fully rely on me and my wife being there all the time. Like that's a terrible business model. It means we can never take a holiday. It means we've just got to be there the whole time. So I, again, think over the journey, we haven't done a great job of this, but we're getting much better at this, at developing teams that can really lead and take our place. There's still a lot of work to do in that space, but we're probably honestly behind where we would want to be. And we have a lot of affiliate owners that, you know, sort of ask them what day-to-day is, and it's on the tools coaching all day.
And that's when burnout.
Yeah, because then they got to go home and do the invoices and the admin at night, and that's a really difficult lifestyle. And you can lose your love for anything, even CrossFit, doing that. So we've just got to There's so many. I don't know what your algorithm is like, but my social media algorithm now is basically just business coaching for fitness. And when I started in this space, I don't think that stuff existed. So it's out there now, and people can take advantage of it.
You just got to make sure it's the right stuff too.
There's a lot out there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's like, how do you, particularly in an affiliate license program, it's like you want your affiliates and licensees to do well.
Yep.
But sometimes they're like, hey, I got this, I know what I'm doing. And then they go and get this advice from somebody that might not necessarily be as credible, and then, the path to that is probably a bit tougher.
It is. And, sometimes they come to us and you sort of, there's obviously amongst business owners and particularly amongst CrossFitters, there's often a fair bit of pride. And you're like, hey, you should have come to us before it got this painful. You've lost all your love for it, and like this thing is on life support now. We would have loved to if you'd come to us 6, 12, 18 months ago.
Could have helped you.
Yeah. So that's I feel like I keep saying this, but I feel like we're starting to make it clearer that you need to reach out to help. And if you open this thing because you just loved fitness and loved CrossFit, that's awesome. But be okay with putting your hand up and being like, hey, I need some help.
I think that's probably, if you go back 10 years ago again, there was probably a lot more business owners that would have come through that sort of idea and got into it because they just loved it, and they might have been elite athletes and they just got into it. But now to continue to succeed, you have to run it as a proper business.
Yes.
You can't just enjoy doing programming and open up your roller door and have people come in, and you need to have sales structures, you need to have marketing tools, you need to run it properly because that's what your competitors are doing.
That's what your competitors are doing. And I don't want to speak for most people, but I think a lot of people just got into being a CrossFit trainer or an operator because we just wanted to train all day.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, I'll coach at 6 a.m. and then I'll just do CrossFit for 3 hours and then I'll coach at lunch and then I'll do CrossFit. And it just doesn't work out like that. You quickly realise this is a real thing that you've got to dedicate some time to.
What's happening in the global landscape? Are there any emerging countries that are kind of the expansion is bigger? Are there any? I mean, the US is the Mecca, is it? Is that a fair statement? And
the US is where it all started. So it started on the west coast of the US, Santa Cruz. We now have more CrossFit gyms outside the US than we do inside the US, but the US is still the biggest market. Honestly, we see sort of pockets of growth, which sort of speaks to the idea that CrossFit can be influenced by lots of different variables. So right now, over the last, let's call it post-COVID, our biggest growing market has been Korea, which is one of the countries I look after, which is awesome. And there's a series of factors that have caused that. It's in a pretty good economic state. It's a country which loves trend. Like when something goes trendy in Korea, it goes really trendy, and they like sort of things that are loud and outliers, and CrossFit has been that. And then I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was the Physical 100 show on Netflix. So all those little factors, and all of a sudden CrossFit's the flavor of the month, and we just saw huge affiliate numbers grow in Korea. We've had really good representation in Europe, so places like the UK and France are doing really, really well as well. Australia had its boom, if you will, of CrossFit affiliates probably in the mid-2010s. So 2015 is when we had the highest amount of gyms. And what we're probably seeing now is somewhat of a, if you want to use a technical term, like a bit of a recorrection of the market. We had a lot of affiliates open, exactly like Jez said, just like, guns blazing, I love this thing. And those gyms don't last. So we've got less affiliates than we had about 10 years ago, but they're better operators. And that's sort of the trend per se.
So it's right-sized the market in Australia, I suppose. It's, and you want good operators, right, running your brand and because like you said earlier, every person that trains in a CrossFit is expecting that there's a level of service that comes with that. And as a studio owner, do you call them studios? Boxes?
Boxes,
sorry. You want the next person doing a great job too, because that's a reflection on your service. And
that's exactly right. Like I have another CrossFit gym, 700 meters from me. And I've spoken with the owner occasionally, and we both agree there's enough people in the area who are sick, overweight, whatever you want to say, that need CrossFit. And the best thing we could possibly do for each other is just run great gyms so that no one walks into one of our gyms and thinks, I shouldn't do CrossFit. There's enough to go around. So
That's such a cool conversation that you've had that. That is so good.
And I think the good operators kind of realize that, and I would say this amongst the whole fitness industry, our competition is not other fitness operators. Our competition is people getting people sick, like
fast food,
big
GLP-1.
food, big soda. That's our real competition. So I walk out on the street every day and I look at people. I'm like, I know for a fact you would not be going to somewhere. Like, go do something. Doesn't have to be us, but go do something. Yeah.
Do we get a bit nerdy on? Let's get fitness. Let's chat because I know you're right into this.
Well, I'm interested to see where you go with this.
What does your routine look like? So you mentioned earlier, your ideal is to do a CrossFit session yourself, then teach them, then do another one. For me, I'd love one session a day, but I'm not mad. What's that look like for you across a week? And then let's chat about recovery and some innovation and things that you might be seeing in the market that you might be trying. I'd be keen to hear about that.
Sure. To be clear, that sort of crane all day mindset, that was about 15 years ago when me and Jez were talking about opening a gym and whatnot. These days, one session a day, probably 6 days a week still. I absolutely love training. Like, I don't think that'll ever change. So I try to do a class at my gym because I think it ticks off several boxes. One, I'm pretty easily distracted when I train by myself. I am that guy that can just sit on a machine or whatever with my phone in my hand. And that's just the nature of being a business owner, I think, a lot of the time. So the classes force me to not do that. I love interacting with my members. I think it's good for them to see me work out and see me suffer, if you will. Not that CrossFit should be suffering, but I ask them to do a lot of things. I put them through the ringer. Yeah. So it's good for them to know that. And I say this with a grain of salt. I personally think now, with where I am in my life, I love the health and fitness benefits I get from working out, but I actually think I work out mainly for my mental health now. I know that I'm just a better husband, business owner, friend, just basically a better person when I'm working out. So that's my main driver, if you will. So that's sort of what it looks like day to day for me.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
that's what it should be, right? I think when you get to our age, I think we can say our age.
Yes, go for it.
It's that mental health and that stability of having something that you can let off some steam, but also, gets the endorphins going.
Yep.
Physically, you feel strong. You can take on anything, build some resilience. I think CrossFit particularly, looking from the outside in, looks like it builds a lot of resilience and a lot of strength in that way.
I really like doing hard things. And I didn't realize I liked that until I sort of worked through that. It's like doing hard things and overcoming them. Even if I'm not super successful at them, it's like I like challenging myself like that. And I think people who are not in a CrossFit gym would be really surprised at the people that do CrossFit. Like, you walk in there and you ask people what they do for a living. It's like, oh, the CEO of some multinational company. And you sort of imagine that person would go for sort of one-on-one, really bespoke, high-level training. But you put a heavy weight or a kettlebell in front of that person and you'd be like, hey, I want you to see if you can hold on for 90 seconds. That person's like, I'll do that. Like, they really like challenges. Yeah. So that's what a lot of people are in the CrossFit gym.
We usually touch on a bit about our guest early on, but we got
very excited early.
It's great. I would prefer not to talk about me.
No, but I think it's always interesting to understand how people got into where they're at now. So you started at Richmond.
Yep.
A long time ago now.
Long time ago.
Yep. And then how long ago did you get charged your gym?
Yeah, so I sort of finished with a uni degree that had not a heap to do with the fitness industry. Absolutely loved training and got my CrossFit Level 1, the course that you spoke of before, purely just out of interest in this thing. I was like, what is this weird thing on the internet like the people are doing? I was like, I've got to learn about it. There was a course in Melbourne, I did it. That gym needed a trainer, and I thought, geez, I probably could do with the extra money, and they seemed to need a hand. So I started coaching people, and honestly, with no experience, I was like, just trying to help people out, obviously try to keep them safe and things like that. Learnt on the job. And then just sort of had a knack for it. Like, I really love training people. Like, I love what exercise did for me. I love sharing that with other people. And then was fortunate enough to get a job working for a CrossFit gym overseas. Like, I just sort of applied for it, thought I'd do some travel. And then when I came home, it just felt like it was time to sort of take on the next challenge. And I was trying to figure out what that was. And I was working at a gym, the one that I own now. And I called up my great mate and now business partner and said, hey, mate, I need something new. Like, what do you think if I come on board as the owner and try to help you. And he was like, I've been waiting for you to ask me this. And yeah, that was like about 2 weeks before lockdown.
Oh, yeah, perfect time.
Yeah. And like, obviously that was pretty scary time, but a bit of a baptism of fire in the best way possible. It's like, if you can get through that, you can sort of get through anything. And yeah, since then it's just been constantly learning on the job, but also trying to seek out, I guess we talked about it earlier, like there's obviously a lot of knowledgeable people in this industry and you just want to try and find the right people to learn from. So always looking outside. And then, there's a CrossFit headquarters. I know some people listening to this will be super familiar with that, but there is a headquarters that sort of help operate the affiliates. So I now work for them full time, and the gyms are mainly operated by my wife and the coaching team there. But I still in the gym every day, but just not as hands-on as I once was.
Yeah. So how long have you been with HQ?
Well, I've been a seminar trainer since about 2013, and then in the sort of affiliate international team since 2020.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So where's head office?
Well, it's somewhat online, but Santa Cruz was sort of the original mecca, and now it's sort of everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Have you found, like, obviously there was some big changes with ownership a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Did that change the way that, I guess, the HQ team sort of operated and supported the affiliates?
Yeah, it's been a pretty wild ride for those that have followed it closely. Like CrossFit's, it changed ownership. It was originally owned by the founder, Greg Glassman, who's sort of like this guru type character that we all revered. He put his foot in it on social media one day and then had to sell the company because basically the company was going to collapse on itself because of something he said. And it went to private equity, and that's who still own it. I would say the answer is the perception is yes, CrossFit's changed because it's now gone corporate. But my experience of it at the affiliate level is that it's no different, or if it is different, it's only just what would have naturally taken place, which is that it's gotten better. But I think something that we were all drawn to with CrossFit at the start, particularly in the early years, is this sort of rawness and this ideal that it was really real. And Greg was such a disruptor. Like he'd come on podcasts and just shoot his mouth off, and all of a sudden there's like lawsuits coming after him because of something he said, and we just love that. Like we were just like, we believe in Greg. But honestly, it could be quite hurtful for the brand, and the brand needed to be a bit more polished. I think a lot of people would argue maybe selling to private equity went too far the other way. Yeah. But again, my lived experience in the affiliate day-to-day is like none of my members know who the hell any of these people I've just talked about are. Yeah. Like they just want to get fitter. So I try to remind our affiliates of that, but I do take into consideration that it's important to them as well.
Yeah. One thing we've been talking for 40 minutes or whatever so far. We haven't touched on the sport of CrossFit, and which is so funny because essentially I reckon that's what creates a lot of the misconception is everyone just thinks of the sport before the actual training methodology. And how is, I guess in the last probably 3 to 5 years, how's that changed from a participation level now that it's more competitive? Have there been any trends there?
This is a real talking point in our community. And with the growth of CrossFit, something which retrospectively now it seems so obvious, but at the time we didn't recognize it. Basically, the growth of the methodology and the affiliates was happening at the same time as the growth of the sport was happening. And those two things are intrinsically linked, but they are very different offerings. Like the CrossFit Games is not what happens in our affiliates. Like there is aspects of it that you can see that are the same. But if you looked at my 6 a.m. class this morning and you looked at the CrossFit Games, they're worlds apart from each other, and they are trying to achieve different things, but it is still all CrossFit. In answer to your question, it's really interesting. At these affiliate gatherings that we run where there's all our owners in the room, someone might stand up and say, hey, I really wish there wasn't such a focus on the games because I really feel that creates a misconception of what's happening in my gym because insert elite CrossFit athlete is on the Instagram doing, more than body weight snatch, and that's gonna make Becky think that she can't do it or whatever it is, right? But then on the other side of the spectrum, you've got the affiliate owner who's like, hey, no, don't stop showing that stuff. Like that stuff is really important to me, and that's what I want CrossFit to be known for, like the elite level fitness, and I want people to know if they come to me, they'll be able to aspire to that. So we put the onus on the affiliates. Lean into the part that you think is worth leaning into. No doubt the games have given us awesome exposure. They have given us misconceptions, which we have to handle day in, day out. And the number one being CrossFit's too intense. And I try to, like, we've workshopped multiple different ways people can handle this, but you wouldn't watch the marathon at the Olympics and then think, oh, well, there's no way I could ever possibly run. Like, that would be a ridiculous logic to apply. And that's the logic we try to get affiliate owners to apply with their members. It's like, this is the absolute creme de la creme of CrossFit. Try not to think that that's what you should be selling day in, day out.
That's great insight. That's a really cool analogy to be able to go, yep. Because, I mean, I look at it from the outside and that's what I think. You know, it's I don't know if I could get through a session. I've got bum shoulder from football. Sure. I've got Achilles issue and like all of these injuries. And so that's kind of the barrier. And so I'm conscious that it'd probably be more difficult for a CrossFit affiliate owner to explain to a member or a user than a 24/7 gym or a boutique gym where it's like they know what they're getting and they're kind of like, okay, it's fitness, it's gym.
Sure.
That's cool. So you've probably got to be sharper, more informative and get them through that hurdle and then you've got them.
And we are doing more and more. We're hearing affiliates doing it and we do it at my affiliate. We are practicing and training, having those conversations. Like when someone comes to us and says, hey, I've been thinking about CrossFit, but, you know, I did my knee twice at footy and I can't run. You can't just go by the seat of your pants with that conversation. You need to be really practiced in how you're going to help that person realize CrossFit's for them. And that's sort of, you know, you can call that sales, you can call it what you want. We've got to get better at that because I think the fitness industry does that really well, like makes people who are coming from whatever angles feel welcome. Like it's become more and more inclusive. There are all different types of people doing fitness now compared to, let's imagine what the fitness industry looked like back in the 80s. It's just like, oh, you'd only go to the gym if you were a macho man. Yeah. It's like it's not that anymore, and we need to be getting good at having those conversations.
I think it's, one of the challenges is with going back to the sport and the gym is the fact that, like you look back at 2015 at the peak of that time in Australia.
I like that. We would sort of call that the golden era of the CrossFit Games as well.
You look at the Open and the participation around the Open.
Yep.
And I actually Googled some stats last time, but I can't remember what they were. But that was like around those.
Insert something professional.
In 2018, that peaked with 415,000 participants, right? But I think that's one of the challenges too, is that it was ingrained into the gyms because it was kind of the Open was part of the games.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it kind of brought it back in. And I think when that became more, the programming became more scaled options was promoted, I think that probably was a change. But
one thing that's been really tricky, and I can give some, I guess, personal insight to this and how we experience it day to day at our gym, but there was a point in time where the sport was still, let's call it amateur. And for that reason, maybe the fittest person at your gym could get to a really, really high level. This is like 10, 15 years ago. Take the fittest person at every affiliate and they could maybe be competitive at what we would call like the national championships or whatever. That's not the case anymore. People who are stepping out on that stage are professional athlete CrossFitters. A lot of them maybe still do a little bit on the side or whatnot, but it's like they are training in a volume which isn't necessarily conducive to the person who just turns up to 6 a.m. every day. And so for that reason, there's been a little bit more separation.
Almost the programming becomes less CrossFit. It becomes more periodized, more obviously a lot more volume, and probably more structured.
Well, ultimately in CrossFit, the fitness that we're trying to generate for people at the affiliate is what we sort of call like GPP or ready state. Like, hey, you can go play a weekend game of soccer. You can go help your mate move house, whatever it might be. CrossFit Games athletes, they're trying to peak for the CrossFit Games. So they go through various routines in their season, which isn't necessarily what we would see at an affiliate. Like it's not the type of fitness we're trying to follow. And, you know, we've got one guy, really high level athlete. He's competed at the national championships a few times. And, you know, we're really open that he needs more volume than what we offer in a class. Yeah. He can't be competitive with what we offer in a class. He can get really good, but if he wants to achieve his goals, we need him doing 2-3 hours a day. And we're really upfront about that. 10 years ago, you could have just done the class programming And if you're a bit of a weapon, it would have worked out. So what that did is tie the affiliate experience really closely to the games, and now it's very separate. Yeah.
If we can change tack just a little bit, obviously you're running a successful business, and I think a lot of business owners listen to this podcast, and I hope they do. And
it's just our
keen on any little nuggets, or like maybe let me reframe it. Like, what would you suggest to a person looking to open a fitness business? What would be sort of the 3 non-negotiables that you'd want to be suggesting that they do?
3 non-negotiables. I know we can't pause on this podcast, so this is going to take me.
I'll put you
put me under the spot.
Give me one.
Yeah, okay. I do believe that the most important thing is the quality of the service that is being delivered. You can have all the great sales and marketing, all the great social media, awesome branding, but ultimately, particularly in a CrossFit environment, the experience that people have when they walk through the doors is the most important thing by far. And I've tried to operate on this tenet that nothing we do in the gym is neutral. So it either adds to a positive experience of what the member's having, or it adds to a negative experience. There is nothing that is a 0.
That's a cool scale.
So if I walk into the gym and there is a piece of chalk on the floor, I'm not saying it's world ending, but it's not a 0. It's a negative something. So pick up the piece of chalk. Yeah. And if someone walks in the gym and I look them in the eye and say, "Hey, g'day Terry, how are you?" It's not gonna keep them forever. But that's a plus. And if you view everything in that lens that it's going to either shift the scale positive or negative, you start doing the little things really, really well, and you just become a little bit more meticulous. So we try to live like that. I'm getting a few nods here, which is good.
That's cool.
I like it.
That's the Ed No Zero scale.
I definitely didn't come up with this. I don't know where I learned it, but
I think it's good because when you're a business owner, there's just so much going on. There's so many levers and there's so many things that you need to get right.
Yeah.
I think to have a line in the sand where you can kind of say, hey, this is how I could judge most interactions and most business decisions. I think that's really powerful. As much as it's simple too. That's the beauty of it. I like it.
Yeah, when I started working on the seminars for CrossFit, when we often got like tricky decisions, we just had this go-to, which was participant experience trumps everything. And I kind of try to remember that. Like member experience trumps everything. Now, the irony is if you take that really literally, you end up with that tail wagging the dog type experience. So you've got to be really careful with it. But if you can look at it long term, what I'm interested in is, are my members getting fitter? Are they having a good time? And is this a place they want to be? If I can say that most of what I'm doing is ticking those boxes, you're probably getting the big ticket items right.
Most people are going to stay if they're doing those 3 things.
That's right. That's right. So try not to major in the minors, which I've been unfortunately very good at over the years. Just like getting obsessive about small things. This doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm getting obsessed with this, but I think a lot of business owners go down that path.
That's cool insight.
That's my only. I know you wanted 3, but I think that's
one's good. You nailed the one, so we don't need.
Do you have a business coach personally, or anyone that you sort of work with?
Yeah, we have in the past. Yep. We sort of purchased some business coaching from a guy who actually doesn't do it anymore, but he was excellent, and that was a really great experience for us to just understand that we need to have mentors. So we probably do a lot of unofficial mentoring now, and we try to learn and do as many courses as we possibly can. There's some people in the CrossFit space which we just really hold in high esteem, so we work with them quite closely. They're called Best Hour of Your Day, which is basically business coaching for CrossFit affiliates. Yep. They do an excellent job. So we're going over to Texas, me and my wife, later this year to go to a convention with them. But there's lots of people in the space. So yeah, just always trying to learn and sort of, I don't know how that curve goes, but the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. Yeah. You know, and that's definitely been the journey I've been on.
It's cool.
Well, Ed, today's been awesome, mate. I think the intention was to share what CrossFit's about, lean in a little bit more to the specifics and peeking behind the curtain somewhat. And as an inexperienced CrossFit person, I feel a lot more educated. Clearly you're a passionate person about it and you're doing a great job, and I've really enjoyed the catch up, mate. It's been awesome to have you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, boys. You've got a listener here. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah,
it might be a bit weird to listen to my own podcast.
It certainly is. Don't worry.
It is the first time, but then you kind of get used to it.
You just play your own podcast in the car.
I've listened to this one before.
I'll give it another go.
Love your own work. Love it.
Can we just clarify? Have you listened to one of our podcasts more than once?
No, I haven't.
All right, just double check, because if you do, we got a problem.
I don't think I have.
But Ed, it's been great, mate. We'll have to have you on again sometime soon. I've really
pleasure.
enjoyed the catch up, and good luck with the rest of the program and everything that's going on in the space. We'll be watching closely.
Thanks so much for having me, lads.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
Hello.